Cool. Elliot,
Nice.
thanks for joining, man.
Thanks for having me.
I know, it's so funny. We got connected the other day through a mutual friend, and what's hilarious, I've seen your videos. You're pushing everything here in Idaho, which I'm
Yeah.
against.
Yeah, sorry, man.
I get it. The wife's in real estate as well, so I understand that give take where
Yeah.
we love this area so much, but at the same time, I wanna keep it as special as it is, but I understand the business side of things and the hustle. But it's funny. I've watched a lot of your stuff, and you're always pushing out the new trends and what's happening in the valley and everything. And you have a pretty interesting story as far as where you're born, how you got to the States, and the success that you've built up to now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I guess we could just, before we jump into it,
Yeah.
make sure I got to send you home. I do something cool, kind of a little bit different here. I offer any veteran or law enforcement small businesses to send me products,
Okay.
apparel, anything, just to be able to promote them for free. It's something that I want to do to give back to the community. So we got the War Machine or Platoon cigars.
Okay.
I know we just had cigars
Oh,
the other
yeah,
night, so I know you're a
yeah,
cigar
heck
guy.
yeah.
So I'll make sure to send him some of those.
Thank you, man.
He was a Marine, got out, became a cop in Chicago, and got shot in the line of duty. Crazy story. We're going to have him on. And so I want to be able to help any of these guys as we can. 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐿 Coffee is a local coffee guy. He's a Marine, recon Marine. Hilarious guy. I've had him on the show before. We're going to have him back on. So I'll make sure to send you home with some coffee grounds and some cold brews, which
Hey, what's a note to that?
borderline meth.
Yeah. Oh, it gets you cooking.
Don't drink them past like 8 in the morning or you're wired all night. One of those.
I like a nice little 2 p.m. pick me up, so maybe that's not a good idea.
These will be till the next day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but it's great. I actually, the first coffee I've ever drank was his. I put it off for my whole entire life, but I had him on the episode and he called me out and made me try it. It was actually pretty good.
Nice.
So, yeah, but I want to give a shout out to these guys just because they're awesome companies and they're veteran owned or law enforcement owned. So we try to
For sure.
send every guest home with something. We normally have a loaf of bread for you, but our oven literally just shit the bed a couple days ago and we ordered a new one. We have a bakery, go figure. So
That's awesome, but I don't need the carbs right now. I'm trying to get tight, so that actually works out pretty good.
perfect then. Perfect. So dude, why don't we just jump into it, man? Give me a
Yeah.
little bit of background on where you are and then we'll just hop right into your life story 'cause it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you want to talk about where I'm at right now, or where I came from? What do you want?
We'll start where you came from, but little bio about yourself.
Little bio. So my name's Elliot Hoy. I had to practice this the other day because I was told I need to be more intentional with it.
Okay.
I am the founder and strategic leader of THG Real Estate. We're real estate brokers that work both business to business and business to customer here in the Treasure Valley.
Got it.
And my team help people buy and sell real estate, and we also help. You hate this, I know. We also represent developers on the construction and sale of their stuff too.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it, so at least someone can do it ethically. You know what I mean?
I get it, man. I understand.
Yeah.
So it's a tough pill to swallow.
It is. I'm sorry, man.
So especially if you watch how much growth is this going here in the valley, which is great. I mean, you don't want to be in a dying community or area, but at the same time, it's bringing the numbers.
The way I look at it is it's going to happen. Someone's going to do it.
Regardless.
So you might as well have people that do it responsibly. So what we
100%.
try and do is bring some responsibility to the process. So
Yeah. So where are you from, man? Let's just get right into
I'm
it.
born and raised in a small town called Tavistock in England in the UK.
Really?
So that's where I was born and raised, a town of 10,000 people.
Okay.
Not many people really get out and do a whole lot there. If I go back, bless them, if I go back, there'll be people that are doing the same thing than when I left.
I feel you.
13, 14 years ago.
Feel ya.
So I was born and raised in a small town called Tavistock in England. Both my parents still together, grew up with my parents and my little sister. It was a great childhood.
Okay.
Wasn't always easy. Like we had what we needed, but didn't always have what we wanted.
Yeah.
And it was relatively unremarkable. It was in a good way, in the best way, really. And I was an athlete growing up my whole life, so I played sports from my earliest memories, from like 3 or 4 years old, kicking a soccer ball around.
I was going to say,
then
you guys
playing
are born
rugby.
with soccer balls.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you are 5'2" and 100 pounds and a grown ass man, or if you are 7 foot tall and 400 pounds, you know how to kick a soccer ball. So I can still do it. It's been a long time. But yeah, grew up playing soccer and rugby, and then didn't actually start playing football, American football, till I was like 16. So I was a late bloomer there. And that's
really?
That's how I got to America. Yeah, I got to America. I played football at Boise State. That's how I got to America. And yeah, I didn't actually play a proper American football until I was 16 years old. I had no clue what I was doing, but I was not much smaller at 16, 17 than I am now at 31 years old.
You're a massive human being.
I was not much smaller when I was 16, 17.
I was going to say either the rugby or American football. Yeah. I feel traditional football was not your destiny.
No, I never had I always had fouls called against me, never had fouls called on me. My coach was like, I'm not sure if this is for you. Not because you're not an athlete, but you're just too big. So I stuck with rugby. And then football naturally found
Yeah.
its way into my life, and that was an even better fit. So,
So
yeah.
what your childhood growing up? I mean, what's the area like? The city,
Yeah,
town
yeah.
you're growing up in.
So Tavistock, the town that I grew up in, is about 20 minutes, probably like more like 35, 40 now, because there's been growth there too, north of the next biggest city called Plymouth, which is a bigger naval city. But Tavistock's this small, what they call a stannery town, so it's built on mining. Kind of traditionally, back in the day, more working class. And it's a nicer, it's not upper end by any means. It's a nicer area, but it's really small. 10,000 population. Yet my kind of middle school / high school was over 2,000. So 20% of the population was students. And they got bussed in from all different areas around the
What was
kind of
that
small
like?
towns.
I mean, so if you're busing a bunch of people in,
Yeah.
then that brings a bunch of different characters.
Oh, we had farmers and then city people. We had a big mix.
Okay.
A big mix. So yeah, it was kind of I actually got exposed to a lot of. I wouldn't say it was like diverse culture, but I did get exposed to a lot of different backgrounds kind of early on. And I was one of like maybe 3 or 4 black kids in the entire school.
No shit.
So I learned pretty quick I was different. I learned pretty quick I was different for sure.
Yeah. How was that like? I mean, you're the one of 3 or 4
Yeah.
black kids in the whole school. So I mean, is it dealing like how shit is here, or is it just everybody's kind of?
I didn't actually realize I wasn't. I don't think I realized I was different until probably it was like I think it was 3rd or 4th grade in elementary school. Actually, that was the first time I kind of experienced racism, and I wouldn't even call it racism. It was just kids making fun of me because I looked different.
Okay.
I didn't actually. I'll be 100% honest with you. I didn't really experience that kind of prejudice or that kind of people maybe judging you for the way you look until I moved to America. Believe it or not,
Really?
That was the first time where there was definitely situations that are hard to explain. If you've been through it, where people kind of a little bit more standoffish maybe, or if you know. But I never let that affect me or bother me.
For sure.
I try and I use those opportunities where people are uncomfortable to make them feel comfortable and be like, hey, you know what? Like maybe you don't have much experience with minorities, but I promise you I'm no different to anyone else.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And that's the best outlook to look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you're growing up playing soccer, rugby,
Yep.
which is the most manliest sport I feel like besides UFC fighting and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I wish rugby was bigger here in the States. But so you did that, and then you started to play football at 16.
Yeah.
Now, when you got a little taste of American football, what was your thoughts on that compared to obviously rugby and
Completely different. So rugby, you have to carry. You're playing. Imagine playing football with that to a degree, that level of intensity, but at the pace of soccer. So it's just non-stop.
Yep.
So rugby was tough, and I had to be a lot lighter to carry myself around playing rugby. When I got to playing football, I played at a much lower level, obviously in England, playing club. It was fun because it was like a little bit more of a slower pace of rugby, but a little bit more violent in a way. It wasn't actually till I moved to America and I played, for Boise State. There's a huge jump going from playing club American football to playing for a top 10 team in the country. That was when my mind really got by. I was like, hang on a second, this is serious. Like this is not a joke.
in my mind I'm just baffled by. So American football is only in club sports.
Yeah, there's 2 schools that now do it since I left. One's called one is called the South Gloucester College, and college in England means high school normally. So South Gloucester College have their own little team and they travel around Europe and other different places to play.
Really?
And then there's the NFL Academy now. The NFL now have their own academy in the UK, which has been added since I left. And that academy basically trains guys, kind of like IMG is here in Florida, to kind of get ready to go out to the US. But none of that existed when I was back home. I did make it on my own.
So it is growing over there, though.
Yeah, it's definitely growing. Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
The world's more globalized than it ever was, so it's a lot easier to consume, view, and watch football now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's growing for sure.
Oh,
for
shit.
sure. Yeah.
So how did that transition from club football bring you to the U.S.?
Yeah, it was. Long story short, I'll try and make a long. I'll give you the whole story because it's a pretty cool story. So, I was 13 or 14 years old playing club rugby back home, and this American rugby team, high school team, came over for a tour of my area. So they played against Tavistock, which is where I'm from, and a bunch of different other clubs in the area. And my dad was one of my youth coaches at the time, and my head coach was asked to kind of guest coach this American team that were coming to stay. And my dad was asked by my head coach at the time, hey, do you want to come and help out? So my dad was like, sure. And this the night he actually asked him this question, we were driving back on a bus from our own tour of the rest of the country, playing some kind of travel games.
Okay.
And my dad asked me, hey, do you want to come along and watch this American team? And it's funny because I wasn't sure. I was tired because we got back super late, and I was like, I don't know if I want to get up that early, Dad. and I managed to wake up early enough where he came in. I think he came and woke me up. He was like, hey, come on, let's go. So I put on my shorts and went out, and he kind of used me to demonstrate drills. And I got to hang out with this American team for the 2 weeks they were there. And there was this guy they had playing for them who was a really good rugby player. His name was Chase, and he was also a really good football player. He was from Rocklin in Northern California. That's where this team came from. And Chase was being recruited by a bunch of like Pac-12 schools for football, and was also a really good rugby player and had a bunch of like different kind of smaller offers from those California rugby schools. And Chase being recruited by all these teams, and he actually tore his ACL in one of the games in England. Big dude. He played defensive tackle, fullback, and then played center in rugby. His job was to like carry the ball and run people over. He tore his ACL, and that was kind of it. I didn't really hear from him from years. Obviously, they went back, and I started playing football at 16. And my dad got the ESPN package in the UK, and we turned on the TV like 3 or 4 years later. I think it was 5 years later, 4 or 5 years.